Where to begin? I'm not a story time or like any kind of story YouTuber or anything like that. I don't even call myself a YouTuber. I make covers and music and stuff, so this is new to me. But I've been toying with an idea for a really long time about talking about this subject that is uncomfortable for me. It's about being a woman in the industry, the music, trying to be in the music industry, trying to get out there, trying to take every opportunity, every chance that I'm given or I have, in front of me. And so with that comes something a little bit uncomfortable hand in hand sometimes, and that is not always the greatest people. People with bad intentions, people with other motives, and so it's just about being, I guess, careful of your surroundings and who you trust and all that, that comes with it. I have had definitely some really uncomfortable moments with people and situations and felt almost taken advantage of, or tried to have been taken advantage of, but I am so wildly paranoid that I usually can get myself out of the situation. Sometimes it's not always the case, and that's life, because nothing is perfect, no one is perfect. You can have your guard up, and then the one time you let it down, something kind of happens. And that's kind of what happened with me. I have been debating making a video on this topic for a really long time now, because it's just something that I feel like I've always tiptoed around. There's, treading on eggshells, if you will. And I think it's time I finally talk about it, because I want to talk to someone else who's had this experience too, because I don't see it. And I think it's important that we bring light to the subject. More so, because we are in the era of metoo and all that brings. So, without further ado, I want to talk about my auditioning experience with a top talent TV show. I don't want to say it just yet. I probably will say it, but for right now, I just want to talk about what I went through and not focus on the show, because it's not necessarily the show. It could be just that person. It could be many people, many casting directors in many shows. However, I have auditioned for 3 shows, and this was the first that this happened to me. I don't know why I'm smiling. It's not funny. I'm just uncomfortable. Mood. Okay, so where do I begin? In the summer of 2017, I want to say like around June, I received an email from a casting director of the show, the talent show, and they were basically talking about, they were given my profile through someone to check out, and they liked it, blah blah blah, and if I wanted to possibly do a Q audition. I think I might have just given it away, the show, but that's okay. Which basically is like a set audition where you can send in a video, or sometimes you can go to the show itself when they're in your city or your area, and have like a set time to see them privately or semi-privately. So I was going to do the video, and I had a few months to prepare 2 song covers to send to them, and for review and for feedback, and then I had an ultimate deadline, which was a couple months after that. So it was a process, and throughout this entire time, pretty much, the casting director that I was working with, speaking to, kind of building a relationship with, being kind of fooled by, I felt trust. I felt comfortable. It was never, nothing he ever said in those few months ever made me uncomfortable, except towards the end. And we'll get there. But, so in the moments and the times that I was talking to him and sending ideas and kind of all that jazz back and forth, it was always very positive. So cut to maybe about a month before the deadline of October, he asked me if I could come for a Q audition when they were in New York, and I said sure. I was in town that day. I said, why not? I'll go. So this is where things started to get fishy. I said, okay, great, I'll do that. Sounds good. I was working with my vocal coach at the time pretty heavily, and she was very much with me on this, kind of, going through all the emails and everything that I needed to do and have done and meet deadlines. So she was with me when a lot of the stuff started to turn sour. I don't know what else to call it. So when that time was about to come around, the audition was in December of 2017, and about three weeks before, maybe a month before, randomly, he added me on my personal Snapchat, or tried to add me on my personal Snapchat. I didn't accept it, which I thought was a bit weird. But then again, I was like, you know what? He's just trying to see all my like social media profiles, Except that was more of my private Snapchat, like for my friends and family. Private, that sounds so dirty. Private Snapchat. No, it's just for my friends and family. I have like my public Snapchat, but yeah, so he added my private one. So I was like, okay, he probably just got them confused or whatever, I don't know, but I still didn't accept it, and like he didn't text me about it or anything like that. So whatever, I keep working, I keep getting things done, and then I want to say up to about 2 weeks before the show, he texted me asking like, oh, how far away do you live from the venue that we're going to be at? And I said, oh, I live quite far. He was like, oh, okay, cool. So how long do you think it will take you to get there? I'm like, about 45 minutes. He was like, oh, okay. Again, I didn't really think anything of it. Whatever. So I want to say, I have to get the exact receipts, which I do still have, I believe, where he texted me. It had to have been a couple of days before the actual audition, because I started to get uncomfortable, like really heavily uncomfortable. So he texted me, I want to say minimum 3 days before my audition and maximum a week before it, where he was like, hey, why don't we grab a drink the night before or something? Some bars in the area, do you know any we can go to? And I kind of dodged it. I was like, oh crap. I was like, I'm sorry, like, I don't drink. I'm not a big drinker. I don't know any bars in that area. I'm really sorry. Again, I'm sure you guys will find something. And he was like, okay, like, let me know if you change your mind, something like that. So this guy just asked me out for drinks. And I'm like, I'm fairly certain he had a girlfriend. So I go and I stalk his Instagram. And sure enough, homeboy was just engaged. Like, just got engaged like 3 days before he asked me out for drinks in New York, the night before my audition. I don't care. I do not care if he had good intentions. What good intentions does that bring? I'm sorry, do you want to go for drinks the night before your audition? What? That is historically, like, just, you start to be like, okay, this is not kosher. This guy is, I can't even find words. I don't even know. It was the most uncomfortable feeling where I felt like, oh my God, like, was this his entire plan? Did he never want really, like, did he want to proposition me? Was that his ultimate goal? I'm like talking so fast, I'm getting heartburn. Or I'm just getting like heated, I'm getting heartburn. Okay, so I said, like, no, like I was as polite as possible, but still firm. Because I didn't want to ruin my shot, which is so messed up, but it's such I think it's a theme for women and people in the industry. If you feel like you're being propositioned, to try and downplay it and just like roll with it, but like still say no, so that way you're still in the running or favored or not, blacklisted or anything like that. So the day of the show comes, or the day of the auditions rather, and I was so freaked out by his texting me to go for drinks the night before. I didn't even want to text him the day of and kind of make sure my, everything was set for me. And sure enough, I ended up, because of that, auditioning like as if I had just shown up that day that didn't have a Q audition, which I was kind of proud of because I was really nervous, and to have gone through it like I just signed up that day instead of having worked on it for months and had a favorable audition, it was something that I was happy to prove myself with by doing. So yeah, I kind of went through like, I don't know, 6 hours, I want to say, of this like intense auditioning process where I ultimately got a call back, and it was a good sign because the casting director that I auditioned for, she didn't know me, I didn't know her, she didn't know that I was a Q audition that got put in the wrong line, and there was confusion, and so he texted me like 20 minutes after I missed my set audition, asking where was I, did I show up, and I said, oh, I did, but I don't think I got put in the right line, and I ended up auditioning as if I had shown up that day. And basically to see him after I finished with my audition, which he gave me my room, or his room number in the building. It wasn't a hotel, that sounded like it was a hotel. No, he was just in like a office room down the hall from me, and so he actually came to me when I was waiting for my call back. He said, okay, like, this is good that you got a call back. So-and-so doesn't know that you're a Q auditioner, so just come talk to me after you finish your callback and we'll chat. And I said, okay. And I had my friend with me there. I was like, you're coming in the room with me. I'm not going in there alone with him. And so this weird thing happened. As soon as I finished that Q audition, I told her that, well, let's call him Peter, wanted to see me after, and she goes, oh no, you don't have to do that. Like, it was like weird. She said it in like a, oh, you don't have to do that. And I was like, okay. And so then I just texted him, hey, like, I'm gonna go. They said I didn't have to see you. He goes, no, actually just stop by on your way out. And I was like, okay, crap. Thought I could get away with this. Shouldn't have texted him saying that I was gonna go, but I did. Anyways, I made my friend, who was also my voice coach, come with me into the room with him, and he didn't even acknowledge her. He just was like, great that you had a callback, great that you went through it, like, this, that, and this. Well, they have no idea that you were a Q audition, and that's a really good sign, blah, 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 bullshit. Basically, like, we really want you on the show, we think you're phenomenal, and, if it doesn't happen this season, it'll happen next season, for sure. Like, you are part of this show's family, we want to help you if you're ever in LA, we're going to hook you up. Just BSing me, just till the cows came home. I mean, I was like, okay, like, okay, like, get me out of here. And basically, he was like, and we'll let you know by January, early February, about it all. And I was like, cool, okay, sounds good. So I was abroad at that point in January, February, so I sent him an email saying, just wanted to follow up, is there any word yet? I've been away, so I might have missed it. And he just, didn't respond. So I was like, okay, I see what happened here. I don't want to say that my turning him down in any way or kind of brushing him off affected my chances, but I don't want to not say that it did. I'll never really know. I really won't, but I'm so curious to know if anyone has had a similar situation like this before, where they've been really uncomfortable in an auditioning process by a casting director or somebody who is an authority figure. I mean, I obviously know that this does happen, but I feel like no one necessarily is speaking out about it in terms of these shows that are on, because I think young girls are really, really vulnerable, and I'm really glad that I was a little bit older for my audition, because if I was like 17 or 18, I don't know how I would have handled it. I don't know how I would have felt. I know I would have squashed it. I know I would have 100% like, said no or whatever, but I don't know how it would have affected me. And I was a little bit older, a little bit wiser to kind of be like, okay, this is it. This is how it happens sometimes. Just brush it off, work really hard, and just keep on keeping on, There was a moment where I let this almost kind of, I don't know, affect me in a way where I didn't want to be as active. I didn't want to be, and I was like, do I even want to pursue music anymore? This is the industry. I mean, I've had some shitty situations, so I felt a bit dejected from it all. And that's okay. Sometimes you need to feel low to feel high again sometimes, because you need that balance, and I'm glad to say that I have that balance now. And sure enough, I was actually in Italy. This is just a fun little side note. I was in Italy in May, and he was also in Italy in May, like 2 towns over, getting married. And I found this out through we had I guess a mutual on Instagram, and I clicked their profile and I saw his wedding. And I was like, oh my god, I was there, like 10 minutes away from the day he got married. That's just side note. I shouldn't have said where it was. I've kind of given some clues. So I feel like if any other girl has been propositioned by him, she's totally going to know who I'm talking about, and what show it's about. Again, I would really like to hear your experiences, if there has been any. Again, I don't want to make this too long. It's already like 18 minutes, and I'm probably not going to edit this. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk to you all about. And just say, if you ever feel like someone's trying to make you feel small, or proposition you, or make you feel like you're not going to get anywhere without doing something you're not comfortable with, then screw them all. Do you. That's kind of been my motto the past 2 years from everything. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks for watching, and again, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, and I'm going to try and I'm going to try and put in the screenshots that I have left. So yeah, I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to try. Okay, thank you for watching, and hope to see you in a video with slightly better subject matter. Bye!